Hello, fellow developers. Welcome back to Integration Ninjas, the go-to place for insightful tutorials and hands-on guides. Today, we have an exciting topic lined up for you as we dive into the world of cloud deployment. We will be exploring the seamless integration of a Spring Boot application with MySQL connectivity and deploying it to Amazon Web Services, Elastic Container Service, Fargate instance using the power of GitHub Actions. If you have ever wondered how to efficiently manage and deploy your Spring Boot applications on cloud, you are in right place. In this tutorial, we will walk through each step of the process from setting up your Spring Boot application to configuring MySQL connectivity and finally orchestrating the deployment on AWS ECS Fargate with the help of GitHub Actions. Now, why is this important? As developers, we understand the significance of scalability, reliability, and ease of management service, allowing us to focus on building and deploying our applications without the need to manage an underlying infrastructure. Couple that with the automation capability of GitHub Actions, and you have a wonderful and powerful combinations for streamlined and efficient deployment workflows. So whether you are a seasoned developer looking to enhance your deployment skills or a newcomer eager to explore the world of cloud native applications, this tutorial is tailored just for you. Let's get started. What we are going to as part of this video is we will create a GitHub workflow file. From that, we will create for a Spring Boot project. We will have a simple application which will have MySQL connectivity. We will configure the AWS database and we'll set up the credentials, and we will just dockerize that Spring Boot application, and we'll update that image to the we'll upload that image to the AWS ECR Elastic Container Registry, and after that we will deploy it to Amazon Web Services ECS instance. So how we'll do, like, we are going to update that AWS ECS service with a new task definition, and that task definition will be used for to deploy that particular service to the AWS ECS instance. So let's see how we are going to do this. For that, I have this particular repository, but before that, I will just like to go to the AWS console. That will be good. So let's go here, log into your AWS account. Yeah. So first thing, let's set up a RDS instance. So we are going to use MySQL database. Okay. So let's create this database. So first, easily, we are going to use a standard create and MySQL connectivity, and it's loading it slowly. Yeah, we are going to use MySQL 8.0.33, and we are going to use a free tier version, so we have just a testing purpose. After that, we'll just name our DB instance identifier. Suppose, let me give as user does management, and I'll just give some dummy passwords, like a dummy username and password. You can keep it secrets and strong. I'll just give root and password. Don't worry, I'm not going to keep this instance alive. I will just kill it. I know the security is very important, so whatever things, we don't need to change anything here. Thing is, we need to have a public access. We can make it as public for our tutorial. And one thing we need to, in additional configuration, the port is fine, 3306, and more initial database name. I will give user underscore management that I want to configure as part of this video. Okay. After that, all things looking fine. These are the monthly cost. It is showing DB instance estimated monthly cost. Okay, let's just create this database. And after that, we are going to set up our cluster and everything that is required to run our pipeline. So this will be created. We will wait for 2-3 minutes. It will be created. And now let's go to the Elastic Container Registry. We are done. I think we have, yeah, we have one Elastic Container repository here already, Spring Boot example. Here we will publish our images. You can create the same repository with simple functions. You just name it here, the Spring Boot example or anything, that project or name, make it a private or public as per your need, and you can create it. I have private repo. Okay, so after that, what we have to do is, I think we need to look into that database. That will be better. Yeah. So let's see the other thing. What we have to do is we will go to the Elastic Container Service, and we will keep an eye on this or DB instance. It should be active, and the endpoint will be visible once the status is created completely. Till the time being, we will set up a cluster, ECS cluster, that will group all the tasks and services and allow the common configurations. So I will just name it as anything, like I can name it. Suppose I will name it as dev cluster, or let me just name it as dev cluster 1. Let it be dev cluster only. And after that, we will select the infrastructure as AWS Fargate. That is a serverless that we are going to use in this video. We can select EC2, but I will probably go with the AWS Fargate for this tutorial, and we'll create this. Okay, it shows already exist. Let me just name it as something 2, dev cluster 2. Maybe I have already created and not deleted that. I will just create a new one. Oh, yeah, it is creating, correct. So the creation is in progress. We can keep an eye here till the time we can see the configurations of our AWS RDS. Yeah, the status is still creating here. So everything we are doing on the live, so it takes some time in actual. Around 2-3 minutes it takes. Yeah, the cluster is created. Now we'll create a task definition. Obviously, let's create a task definition. We'll name this as Spring Boot app task definition, and it will launch set the infrastructure requirements. That will be the AWS Fargate for this tutorial. We can select EC2, but we are going as Fargate instance as for this video, and we'll leave all this configuration as it is. And here one thing we need to make sure is we should have ECS task execution role. If you don't have this role, we need to go to the IAM console and we need to assign this to our IAM user. That should have ECS task execution policies attached to it. I already have, so I have created this role. Under that, I have policies, that is ECS task execution role. You can add it with attached policies. You can simply search here ECS. Yeah, you can set this ECS related policies here. You can clearly set this. So this is one thing, and you need to create this task and you just assign policies to that role. And after that, this is the container name on which the container, let's give our container name as Spring Boot example, the same name of our application, Spring Boot example, and the image URI. So this we need to copy from the AWS Elastic Container Repository, ECR. I have a temporary URI there. Even if you don't have, you can copy it URI from here. And after that, suppose I will give a tag as latest one. That is also fine. But it will not matter because we are going to update this task definition while creating a service. That time we can do this activity. And after that, let's define the container port as 8080. And this is fine. Yeah, everything looks good here. Let's create this task definition. This is created and the container is created and our RDS is also created. So what we are going to do now is we'll go to our AWS code base. I will go through like what we have done exactly. I have this project here where we have like couple of points. One is for get mapping and another is for the post mapping. Okay, so here like we are creating the users, we are accepting some user details and we are just retrieving all those user details. So adding and retrieving the details, that's it. We have like set up it in a Spring Boot JPA project. So let's go through completely like through one of the thing like user service. We have service module here where we have this user service which is our interface and we are implementing it here and we are creating the user and we will save this. Okay, this is very simple project and we are like adding all those details. Okay, so let's do this. Like we will just configure the credentials here. I think I need to copy this endpoint. I need to make sure okay, this is not yet copied. What is those? Yeah, I think this is the same one, ws.e. Yeah, correct. And we have this same credentials, data source URL, MySQL, and this the host name. And after that, the port number and then the database name. And we have the username and password as root. Make sure you just store it in Vault or somewhere else for security reasons. For this tutorial, I'm just saving it like this only. Now what we are going to do is we are going to create a Docker file. I think I have created it already. I can use that existing one. Yeah, this is pretty simple. We need to select a image. Why this is not getting copied? Yeah. Yeah, so this is the base image and this is the void directory where our files are getting created in the Docker container in the /app folder, and we are going to copy the jar file, that is spring boot example.jar, for this project into the container directory, and we are going to expose the port 8080 from our container, and we are going to run this as a java-jar spring boot this example.jar. This is pretty simple. And after that, what we are going to do is we are going to write a we are going to write a workflow file, that is github/workflows. Okay, let's create a directory. Just first time I'm using this .github/work.github. Under that we have one more directory, workflows. Under that we will have a file as cicd.yml. So yeah, so let's do this. I think we can use some of the existing things. So these are the common things, like we'll use the where we have to run the project and the Maven, the clean install. This steps we can use as it is. So like we are going to name this CI/CD as deploy to AWS ECS. And when this event should trigger on the particular branch, on push branches, we will have a branch as deploy to ECS. So let's rename this. We are going to rename our action this should be executed here, and we are going to use the action provided by GitHub hosted runner Ubuntu latest, because it has all the features Docker and AWS CLI. I'm not going to use self-hosted runner for this tutorial. And we are checking out the source code, and we'll set up the Java. These are like predefined actions provided by the GitHub. So this is also setup Java is also provided by the GitHub, and there we are using the Java 17. Make sure like you use specific version of Java, since we are using Java 17. So we're using Java 17 here, and we are going to build the project with a Maven clean install. We don't have a test case, so we just kept it. And after that, we need to configure our AWS credentials. So for that, AWS is providing few actions. So if you search on the Google, GitHub, AWS provides some the actions that is AWS provided. So there, if you see the details, they need some specific inputs, and we need to pass all those inputs, and just we can log in into the AWS environment. So this is the action file. You can go through this, like how it works. Only thing is, we need to provide only few details: the access key ID and the secret access key here. We have already done this earlier in the videos. I think all is pretty similar. So we can use the same thing here. Okay, so this will be here. Okay. So we have to provide this AWS action. This is version 3 we are using. We can see like what is the latest version they have as of now is. Yes, so they are also using. Okay, let's search this. Yeah, the version 4 is the latest one, but we can keep using version 3 as well, since the backward compatibility. We'll use this. We need to provide these inputs to this particular action: secrets.aws access key and AWS secret access key. Like both things you should configure. Like when you will be creating your IAM user account, you can configure this thing: AWS access key and AWS secret access key. This I have added in my GitHub secrets. So if you see the settings and actions, not here, the secrets and variables, actions here, I already configured it. You can also add any secret values here. I have added already. So you can just like name anything, and you can add all those values here. The secret is very easy, and you can access it with $secrets in dollar and the curly braces, and after that secrets dot this particular the value you have provided, key value pairs. So now we have like build our project, we have logged into the AWS environment. Now what we have to do is we have to build our project. We have this Docker file, we need to build the project, correct? So for that, what we are going to do is we are going to log into the Amazon ECR. So for that also, AWS provide all those actions. So we have a action that is Amazon ECR login. We can check that on the documentation. If you see, this is AWS Actions, certified by AWS. These are available on GitHub Marketplace. We'll see how we can use this. We need to just use this function. What it actually does is logs in the Docker client to one of the more AWS ECR private registries on Amazon ECR public registry. Okay. So we will use this action here to log into the Amazon ECR. Earlier we have configured the AWS credentials with this particular actions in this particular region. Now we are going to use this action. This code is like we already done this. All right. Now we are logging into the AWS environment here. Till this is fine. Now we see like we also have this GitHub official documentation how we can do these things. So now our task is like done for configuring the AWS environment, logging to the Amazon ECR. Now we have to build, tag and push Amazon this image to the AWS ECR. So we'll use the same step here. All right. Alright, the indentation needs to be correct here. Alright, so we can simply give this as, let me just add some spaces here, like this is getting jumbled actually. Yeah. After this, we are like building, tagging and pushing image to the AWS ECR. So we give this step as an ID that is build image. And after that, this action has this particular environment registry. Like we are creating some environment variable to store some details. That will be the outcome of this particular action, a login ECR, that will return the ECR directory. So here we are creating the image as the commit ID. So we will use this predefined variable from the github.sha, which will be the commit ID, last commit ID, and we'll run below commands to build and deploy the file, right? So earlier action we used, right? This is the ECR login, correct? Which will give us the image of our AWS ECR. So here we come, and after that we have to just simply use docker build -t and whatever the directory we have, right? The Spring Boot example / the ECR repository, and then image tag, and then dot. This is simple. And after that, we'll push this image here, right? So whatever it is, like after that image, we will just print the output of this particular step into the GitHub output, so we can use it in the further actions. All right. So once we do this step, we have to not here. Yeah, so if you go through the steps here, we are missing something, I guess. Okay, this is here. Create an Amazon repository. Yes. Done. Correct. Yes. Yes. So now we have to, once we deploy this action with this particular image, like this shows like how we can do this. This will return the image. Correct. And after that, we will just push it to the AWS ECR. So this step will be done. So we'll have the image ID that we will store in this particular variable image. And after that, we need to update the task definition with the new image ID. So in the task definition, when we create the task definition, we have observed that whenever we create the task definition, we need to give the task ID. Here the image URI as mentioned. So this will be the image URI here with the latest commit ID that we are going to store in this particular variable, and that we need to update in the next step in our workflow file. So we'll use this action, the ECS render task definition. This will fill the new image ID in the Amazon ECS task definition. So this is also provided by the AWS. So we are not going to use any other action that is not provided by Action, the AWS, for security and other perspectives. We will rely on the AWS provided services, provided actions only. So once we add these things, here one thing we need to make sure we are not going to use this. We are going to use its version 1 only. Okay, so once we do this process, we need to provide this details here. The ID we give it as task definition, and the task definition here we need to take it from the previous step. Actually, it should be steps dot task dash def. That is the, I think, the previous one. Yeah. No, I think missing this task definition. We need to add it in our code. Actually, yes. So we need to add this code here in our repository. So let's add this, create a new file, and we'll go to the task definition and we'll copy this JSON. This is a template JSON. You can generate it, but I will use this since we have already done this. All right, we'll just name this same as the task definition here. This is Spring Boot task definition .json and we'll commit these changes in our project. And now we can use this. Definitely we need to take a pull before committing anything here. So once this is done, we need to give the container name. What was the container name? That was, I think, Spring Boot -example only. That was the container name that we gave here. We can cross check here. Yeah, this is the container name. And once we are done with this process, we need to give this image, that is steps.build image dot this particular, the output of this action, that is image here we are going to, so this will render the task definition with the new image ID with the latest version with the latest commit. All right, once we are done with this step here, we are going to follow the next approach, that is deploy ECS task definition. So that also we can use here. This step is all provided on the GitHub official documentation. I will share the link in the video. All right, so the task definition will be the steps dot the same one here. So this particular action will result the task definition. We have to use the latest task definition only whenever we will create a new service. In that time, we need a task definition that should be the latest image. So here, this is the function Amazon ECS deploy task definition. And here also we are going to use version 1 only for this action. This is the new one that I'm using as of now. And after that, we are going to give a service name as Spring Boot example service. I will just create that right away once I'm done with this. All right, this is done here. And after that, I will give the cluster name as dev cluster 2, which we have created, and I will leave this wait for service capability as it is, since we don't need to change anything here. So I think we are good here. We have covered most of the scenarios here. It should work actually. Let's do one thing. Let's commit these changes. Deploy to ECS. I will just commit it and we'll take a pull. We have all those changes now. Let's push these changes, and before that, let's create a ECS service also. I think that we have missed out. So let's create a service inside the cluster. So in the cluster only, we will have to run all the services. In service, we need to give that a particular task definition. So let's create a service here. What service name we are given here is Spring Boot example service that we can use directly. Yes, we don't need to change anything here. We will just give a name and the family as this the task definition. This is the name of the task definition and a task latest image ID. Once we update the service in the workflow, it will be updated and it will be triggered a new deployment. So let's see how it will go here. And let's create this. Okay, this is creating. This is pretty cool actually. It shows like it is in progress. Okay, let it be. Now, if you are doing this, we just need to make sure whatever the port you are exposing for the container and for the database, you need to go to your security group and you need to expose those ports there from the inbound rules. I already done that. I will show you. If you see, I have added the inbound rules. You can also set for these ports. You can edit the inbound rules and you can just set it for MySQL. It will be the 3306 port, and for custom TCP, it will be 8080. So this thing you need to check once. Okay. Let me just deploy these changes now. we'll see the actions will be triggered. I hope every syntax is fine. We'll see how it works. Okay, we'll go to the actions tab and see the action is getting triggered. Build and deploy. Okay, so everything is running here. The clean build is in progress. Okay, so it failed here. There is some issue actually. Invalid reference format. Probably we need to just ECR. Okay, there is some issue. We need to just rectify it. We'll take a latest pull. Okay, we can do it right here. All right. First, let's see like what is the services happening here that is there. We can see how the service is behaving there. So it will pick up the automatically service and it will start deploying that. We can just deactivate that. So it got failed because of some issues. We'll see those. So first let's focus here only and see what is the issue here when we are creating the image tag. We are expecting the registry that is Spring Boot example registry. All right, and here ECR registry and ECR repository colon image tag and dot. We are using the same things. All right, let's see what is the issue. There. Actually, it did not return the actual image tag here in valid reference format. So something is issue here only. That is okay. I think we missed something here. Is we need to, yeah, I think in environment we can name our repository the ECR repository, because this is expecting that that the repository name is not correct. So repository, and after that whatever the name of our repository, I think it was Spring Boot example only. So we'll name that and we need to append it actually, right? So this we need to append here. Now it will be easier registry the name, the slash this repository, and then the column this image tag. All right. Let's see this how it behaves now. It should work now here. I want to see this also. What is the issue here? Okay, service is also inactive. Okay, it shows the service is inactive. So we'll do one thing, we'll just re-trigger the service here. And here, what we are going to do is we'll just re-trigger this service. There was an error, service was not active. Okay, we can do one thing is delete this service. And we can create the same service again. All right, let's create this. We can see this is in progress. It is in progress. We can do one thing. We can just re-trigger service is created. So we can re-trigger this. And we can observe the job again. So the new tag will be created, the new image will be created, a new task definition will be created, and it will be deployed to the ECS service. ECS service will pick that new task definition. Yeah, I can see only two here. There are others here. Okay, and this is not the correct actually. We need to re-trigger this job. We have re-triggered the wrong one. Okay, let's monitor this. All right. So this was a complete large process setting up everything. So this is one time process. After that, you just need to trigger the database changes. You can just manage in your AWS RDS instance, and then you just need to just commit and set up the CI/CD workflow. The first workflow is always like a bit tricky. You need to set up everything, the resources, underlying resources that we have done as part of this. If you see the deployment is in progress now, we can see the deployment started was this deployment here. So we can see this deployment here. Okay, we can close this. We can go to the Amazon ECS and we can see the deployment, what is happening. So if we can see the task, one is pending and one is running. So we can go to the task, and also we can see the logs here of our application. So if you see here, the application is running on the latest ports. So this is good actually. So let's go here and we'll see the public IP for our task, and we will try to hit that and we'll see if database is returning something or not. All right, so the logs are here. Okay, so how we can see the public IP? We can go to the task and we can see this task ID We just need to click on the task ID, and we have the public IP here. Let's go to this public IP, and after that we have exposed 8080, and then we have a users API which is returning 0. That is fine. Let's see if we can access this through the postman. I think I should have postman here. Yeah, let's try in the postman. I need to plug charger as well. I hope everything works fine. 12 minutes. This is getting pretty long video. Okay, so the postman is up. We'll try to see if we can access. Otherwise, we can see the database is returning the empty results since we don't have anything in the database as of now. Alright. We have successfully deployed our application. We can see the logs also. Everything is completed. So we have successfully deployed it to the AWS ECS. We just do one thing. Instead of localhost, we will use this URL. Okay. I will just go to the history tab, and I will hit the post API directly if I can use it. And body, we have some details. If we see the result of this API, okay, there is no such API. Thing is, we need to see what is the endpoint we have exposed users only. But yeah, if you see this is giving timeout because we cannot access this API directly from this particular postman. We need to configure it. But if you see if we add anything in the database, it will be accessible. We are able to see the results of the database also. So we have already successfully deployed it to the AWS. So correct. So let's do one thing. I will try to add some data there itself. This is giving timeout. Let's connect to DB Ever actually. We'll try to connect to the DB Ever, and then we'll see if we can access the database, and we'll try to add some data, and we'll try to retrieve those details. We can see the database is connected, and we have tables, users, and what we can do is we can just create a SQL query here. Okay, all right, we'll add a okay, SQL editor, open SQL script, and here we will execute one thing here, and we have added some records and we will try to access these records. We need to plug the charger. Something is happening here is we need to see the task activity initiated already. We need to go to this task. This is already running. I don't think why the public IP is changed or anything. We just need to make sure. Yeah, if you see, we can retrieve all those details that we have set here. I think we can access this as well. I don't know why we're not able to access that time. We faced that issue. The IP got changed actually. I have not seen this. Now, if you see, like we can retrieve all the users that we are adding. So this is pretty good. This is like simple, like how you can like deploy your application. I know like last pretty like thing was horrible that the IP got changed because of the deployment. One of the tasks was getting rolled out and one was getting invoked again because of that. So now you are good with this, like how we can like do this thing, log into Amazon ECR, building the images and all those things. Correct. So that's how like we can like first thing is like we need to set up the infra at the very first, and after that now if I do any change, I will not have to create any infra. It will update my ECS task definition, and after that it will just upload it the updated ECS task definition and will deploy to the service, and a new task will be created every time. So that's how like you can deploy your application. Thanks for thanks for watching my video. If you like this video, please like it, subscribe it, and share it amongst your friends. Thank you. Have a good day.